Hey everyone, it's Anne Manera. Welcome. We are doing a different type of live video tonight, and this is a coloring demo. And I'm going to do a coloring demo on how to color water in glass. I've provided a free worksheet, water and glass worksheet, and this tutorial can actually still also be found in my book, The Coloring Handbook, Volume 2. Although I do want to just take 1 minute and I just bear with me for a second. I need to adjust a couple of things on my camera while everyone gets here. But if you head over to my website, you can click on freebies and it's listed under freebies. Let me just adjust one other thing. I think that's a little bit better. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so let's see. Hey, there's a lot of people here already. So let me make sure that I have the link. Lighting is always weird. Why is lighting always weird? Isn't that strange? All right, I think that's better. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to be using Farben oil-based colored pencils, and I have invited Tanya, who is the creator of these pencils. I've invited her to join us tonight, so hopefully she'll pop in and give us some information about these pencils. I know that she's going to give away going, but I just want everyone to have a chance to get here. So let's just give it a couple of minutes. So you can head over to my website. You can get the link that's up in the description of this video. Get yourself a free page, and we'll get started in just 1 second. Okay, so this tutorial, coloring water in glass, can also be found in my book, The Coloring Handbook, Volume 2. And it's found on page, so if you have this book, then you have this tutorial. It's found on pages 30 and 31, and it gives you a description, a step-by-step tutorial about how to color water in glass. And then it has a worksheet, which is the worksheet we're using tonight, and that's the worksheet that I've given everyone. So let me say hello to everyone first before we get started, because I don't want to be rude. Hey, Lynn, Rita's joined us. Good evening. Sarah's here with us tonight. Lynn says, this looks like tiny crowds. I know, it kind of does, doesn't it? Bonnie. Hey, Yvonne. Pat, good to see you. Good to see you, Nick. Sharon's here with us tonight. I was going to say this morning. Hey, Kerry, I'm so happy that you stayed up. I know it's midnight where you are. So thank you for making the effort. I really appreciate it. Okay, so I'm using Farben colored pencils, and coloring demos are something I wanted, is kind of a new live that I'm doing. And what I'd like to do is a little bit different than a color along, where a color along becomes more of a community event, and we talk about crazy things like pizza and weather. I want to just kind of focus on the actual technique and the actual demo of how to color, in this case for tonight, water and glass. So it'll be a little bit shorter. We're going to do about a 30-minute demo tonight. You can ask questions in the comments, and feel free to post your finished page and the coloring group and let me know if you have any questions about it. But basically, you want to color. The goal here is to color these jars with the flowers in them so that you can see through it. So it looks like it's glass, because that's the whole point, right? Is that when you're looking through a glass jar, you want to be able to color it. So transparent is the key word tonight, because we want it to be very transparent. The other thing is that water and glass can reflect the colors around them. So it doesn't always have to be, water's clear, right? But when you take a look at water, what color is around it that is reflecting it? And it can be many different colors. It could be yellows or lavenders, or it could be greens, or it could be blues. And tonight I'm going to be using just blues. So I have 4 different color blues. I'm not really sure if I'm actually going to use all 4 of these, but we have cerulean, summer sky, turquoise, and I have blue lagoon from Sperfarben. And this is from the 72 pack of Sperfarben pencils. So the first thing I want to do is use this lightest one, which is called Blue Lagoon, and I'm going to start here with this one on the right. Get this out of the way. Now take a look at the ridges that are formed. I have these lines here, and those represent the ridges in the glass. And then we also have this line here that represents the top of the water level. Hey, Chris. And we're going to just do a light pressure of the actual water. So we're coloring the water right now. So there's 2 things to think about. We're coloring the water that's inside the glass, and then we're going to color what's on the glass. So when you think about these flowers that are the stems of these flowers that are inside the water was going to, so it's kind of a layering technique. So the water is going to be on top of it. But I'm going to do a few different things here. So we're going to do a few different layers and steps to this. I've got to move my chair over a little bit. So I'm just going to give it a light pressure for the whole thing with Blue Lagoon. And this is kind of my Blue Lagoon here. That's my little swatch of it. Now, as we get closer to the bottom, I'm not going to really change the pressure as I'm doing this. I'm just going to kind of go the same light pressure. I am going to color in the direction of the jar. So kind of on an arching motion or direction. I don't know what my dog is doing in the background right now, but she is not doing a good job. She's not being good. So we've got the water that's happening there. Let's use this green for the stems, which is called jungle green. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a heavier pressure. What is happening with the 2 of you back here? Paisley? Hang on a second. We have dog issues. Paisley, you need to go lay down. Go ahead. Sorry about that. Rita, I'm glad you've joined us. Is this the first time you've watched live video? I've talked to Rita on the I saw that comment, Sarah. Thank you very much. But I've talked to Rita on the telephone actually, and Rita is very nice too. So I'm glad you're here, Rita. So we've got this kind of this green color here, and I'm just kind of bringing it up. It's really not about the flowers. It's more about the water in the glass tonight. Now I've colored this part with the Blue Lagoon. And I'm going to go back over it now. So it's kind of layering steps, going over that same thing again. Now imagine that there's kind of like a little bit of a, I don't know, a little bit of a shape here that is kind of reflective through, so you can see through the back of it. We're not going to, the dog in Anne's life makes this group interesting. Do you think so? She's a little bit of a pain in the neck sometimes, Sarah. Have you seen her videos that she does now? Where she's talking and she has a daily message? That Paisley. Paisley's always in trouble. I don't know what happened back there, but I don't know if she jumped off the couch and she jumped off too hard. I don't know what's going on. Crazy dog. All right, so see how I'm just kind of giving it a heavier pressure at the bottom? And then we've got this line here, so we kind of want to have a little bit of a heavy pressure there. But we don't really want it to be an even pressure. So I've got a darker color here, lighter color here. So it's kind of like it's light, dark, light, dark. Think about glass. Think about a glass of water that's just kind of sitting there. Sharon. No. She doesn't really do any filming. She just does, we just do her photograph. Maybe she's getting too much of a big head. I don't know. This one is Summer Sky. And I'm going back over this just where those darker sections were. Just to kind of fill in a little bit. Now, remember, we're layering it. The stems are inside the water, right? So the stems are inside the water, so we're going to go back over it. So sometimes it could be a little bit of a scribble, but think about water. You kind of want it to be a little bit, kind of moving around a little bit. It's not a stagnant thing. But then we've got the glass jar, okay? So now let's think about how maybe that jar is going to be a different color. So let's use this yellow color, which is just called, it's just called yellow. How boring is that? It's just called yellow. I don't know why it would just be called yellow. I think it's going to be too bright, to be honest with you. So let's go with melon. And I'm going to use melon to color the actual glass. Now, remember we talked about the layering technique. And so we've got the stems, and then on top of that is the water. And then on top of all of this is the glass jar. So now I'm going to use the same type of thing where the lines were, kind of do a heavier pressure with this melon color. And then I am going to this is just very, very light. But again, on top of those stems. Now, guess what? The glass is in front of the water. You know? And we are going to go on top of this. So very, very, very light pressure. Very, very, very light pressure. On top of the actual water. Now, what's tricky here is that yellow and blue mixed together are going to make green. So if you do not want this to kind of mix together, then you just kind of you have to be very, very light. Don't do too much of a pressure. Okay? So that's our first one. You can see it going through. It's that kind of reflective into what's there, into the actual stems. And I mean, while I have this out on my desk here, I'll color the flower, but I'll do another one, and we'll do it in with some lavenders. Instead of using blue for the glass, we can use some lavender. We've got to kind of complete it with the flower, right? Because we don't want to leave it totally incomplete. So I thought that I would add some coloring demos instead of a color along. I'll do a coloring demo from time to time. Hopefully I can get a coloring demo up once a week, and just focusing on the actual technique rather than coloring like a leaf for like an hour. Maybe coloring a leaf and really concentrating on that technique for a good 20 to 30 minutes. So kind of a new thing to add to the pile, to the toolkit, to the pile of stuff. And then I'll add this yellow that I tossed to the side. I'll add it onto there. So let's take a look at using some lavender. So this one right here is called French lavender, which is a really pretty color when you lay it down. But I really want something a little bit lighter, and I'm actually going to use, this one's too dark. I'm actually going to use this gray because it's kind of a cool gray, and I actually think it's called cool gray. It's called cool gray. The names on these pencils really, some pencils you just cannot get the right name, you know? Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Lynn. Yeah, I thought it'd be something different, you know? I was going to do them pre-recorded, but I'm not good with pre-recorded. Let's see. This one is called, can we see it? Pale purple. Can't see with the glare of the lights. So this one, I'm going to do the same type of technique, but we're using this purple color, okay? So this is a pale purple. Again, remember I used the very, very light blue, and I'm just going to kind of go in that arching motion, arching, kind of around. So I'm mimicking what's here at the bottom. This way it'll look like it's a jar. Look like you can kind of, well, I don't know necessarily think we're going to it's going to actually be picked up off the table here, but that would be crazy talk, wouldn't it? And then again, how I added a little bit of a darker section to the side and then to the bottom. And sometimes you kind of want to do opposite. So maybe darker up in this corner here, and then this bottom corner here, do a little bit of a darker one, but leave this light. So kind of like, imagine this is an X. Dark, dark, light, light. Kind of X it out. Again, here we'll kind of put a little bit of a darker area. And then I'm going to introduce this cool gray color and just kind of add it to what's there, just kind of here and there, because I want to just kind of go with here, wherever that might be, wherever that gray might shine through as another color to add into it. I'm going to go back in with the stems, and remember I said that it's kind of layering, you know, layering on top of one another, because the glass is first the stems are in there, then the water's around the stems, and then the glass is out on around the water. It's kind of like, you know, the lady who swallowed the fly. The lady who swallowed the fly. That's what you can compare it to, I guess. And then we have French lavender, which is my favorite one. And I am going to just kind of add a little bit here and there with that water, for the water. Now, just kind of keeping it on top of that also, because you kind of want to give it a little bit of a blur. And this, you would, if you were coloring this type of thing with water and glass in grayscale, you would do the same type of thing. Elaine, hey Elaine. Elaine's saying, I just scheduled this a couple hours ago, Martha. Well, this morning I think I scheduled it. Elaine is saying, I have trouble keeping my pencils that sharp. I use, let me see if I can unplug it without losing my wire. I use this Bostitch electric pencil sharpener, and I bought it on Amazon for like $11 at the time. I don't know how much it is right now, but it gets the pencil so sharp. It's awesome. And these are Spirafarben pencils, and if you go over to the Spirafarben Facebook page, I believe there is still a giveaway happening. I invited Tanya to this tonight, but I'm just not sure if she's here. Get this one. So on top of the stems again. Now the glass. It could be yellow, it could be green, it could be blue. Let's stick with another, we'll stick with the same yellow here, and I believe this is the same one. This is called golden yellow, a little bit different. And just like we did with this one here, where we went around those lines, same type of thing. So same pressure, again, on top of and over the stems. And this worksheet has four different, illustrations of the same glass jar with these two flowers, so that you can practice as much as you can. This page can also be found, or this tutorial, coloring tutorial, can also be found in my Coloring Handbook Volume 2. And for tonight, I have this as a free page that you can get a free worksheet on my website. If you go to annemanera.com, then you can just get a free worksheet. You might have pressed too hard, Lynn. If the gray muddied the lavender, you might have pressed too hard. And it depends on the gray. You know, it depends on the gray. I mean, that nice cool gray. Gray can be kind of funny sometimes. Gray can be a little tricky. Sometimes it can be muddy. Like this French gray color, I don't know if I would have used this one, because this one's kind of like a putty color, you know? So that, I don't know if I would have used that one. And then I'll just give these flowers a pink look to them. And that's it. I just wanted to do just kind of a little demo on, can you do one with the green glass? Instead of the yellow? Yeah, let's do one with the green. We'll put some blue water and some green glass. I won't finish that little guy right there. All right, let's do a little bit of blue water on this one. So just going to give it a same type of pressure And then I'm gonna go back with my green. Now you could put the green stems first and then do the water and then do the water again and then do the water again on top of the green stems. But I like to have a little bit of a, because what ends up happening is when those stems are inside that water, hey Diana, then they could actually get a little bit of a different color because they're in the water. So if you were going to pull out the stem, it's going to look a little bit different. And it is looking a little bit different compared to what is here versus this. And Sarah wants to see what this would look like if we had green glass. So let's just take this color here, which is called green, just boring green. And I am going to go back in and just give it a little bit of a very, very, very light pressure. But a little bit darker as we go around the ridges. So it's on top of the blue glass, of the blue water, the blue glass, the blue water, the blue water. And I'm going to take a darker green, which is called, hard to see this under the light because these are silver. I think that's this camel green. And I'm going to kind of give it a little bit of a, kind of a little bit of a pressure at the edges. And then on top of it again. Boy, Paisley's really quiet all of a sudden. I'm starting to think that when she jumped off that couch, maybe she just, I don't know if she hurt her leg or not. She's not crying or anything. She'll give you an update in her daily message. And I'm going to go back in with some yellow too, and just to kind of highlight what's there, where the lighter parts are. And then what other color did we talk about for blues, lavenders, greens, yellows? Sometimes the glass could, the water would be yellow, but sometimes you could just have just a clear thing. So let's see what happens if we just use gray. So I'm just gonna go right across it. Just a very, very light pressure. Even in the corners, just kind of a lighter pressure, maybe a little bit of a scribble in that corner, but nothing too much. And then give it a green stem. This one is that camel green again. She'll probably give an update, Lynn. I could see it now. She's probably gonna tell us about like her little injury. And now this one is French gray, and I'm going to just use French gray for this section here for the jar. Because this is the glass part. And remember, we have to go back over it because you have stem, water, glass. So it's a layering technique. It's like a sandwich. And then I'm going to put a tiny bit of a light blue. And the light blue is just going kind of where the darker sections are. Because, remember, it reflects. So glass can also reflect other colors around it. So it's not a color. It's just a clear thing, and it's going to reflect what's there. It could act like a prism. And that's it. That is our coloring demo of coloring water and glass. So I'm going to try to do these once a week. I'm just not sure about the actual time or what day I'm going to do them. I need to kind of figure out the times and the days to do these coloring demos, and the coloring demos will either come from one of my coloring handbooks, either volume 1 or 2, or it will be a brand new coloring demo that could be kind of a way to get to create another coloring handbook. So you can find this this tutorial that we did tonight in the Coloring Handbook Volume 2, and it is on page 31, page 30 to 31. And you can take a look at both of them, both pages. It gives you kind of a step-by-step here. And this one is the worksheet that's in the book. So hopefully this was informative. Let me know what you thought about this. Let me know if we should continue these little demos. And thanks so much for joining me tonight, everyone. This was great. The leaf idea, that's next on my list. Leaf and what was the other one? Realistic, making things look realistic, coloring something to look realistic will be another one. Okay, so stay tuned, and everyone have a great night. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great night.